Welcome, Chef Francis. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I know you personally through your husband. I worked with your husband for a few years, and after I retired, I felt like that's when I actually kind of met you.
Yes.
And I don't think you were at my retirement party. I think you catered it. But I don't recall, like, and then I was so busy, I'll be honest. It was like I didn't even get to speak to everybody, but I felt like I didn't really get to meet you there, even though I got to taste your food. But I was able to run into you at another retirement party, which you also catered, and I thought it was awesome. That I just felt like I don't even remember what we were talking about, but we kind of hit it off. I might have said something inappropriate. I just remember we started laughing, and ever since we were just like, just became super good friends. And I have to say, I'm having you here as a guest because I'm proud of you and everything you've accomplished. I know you and I have spoken a great deal about, the length, in length about your business and how it came about. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin first, and in retrospect to the food that you serve and the food that you create.
First of all, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's funny how retirement parties, we seem to run each other into each other in retirement parties and things like that. Yes, we did hit it off from the get go, and I didn't go to your retirement party because I was serving at Jay's local that day. But me and Jackie, my daughter Jackie, prepared the sorullitos, and I did
Yeah,
the rest of the food that day. But everybody said it was very nice, so I was there in spirit.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
put it that way,
yeah.
for sure. And this wasn't the question, but I wanted to thank you because um, I don't like talking in public about personal experiences, but there was just one thing that you did that set you apart, that I had not experienced with anybody that I had known. When my dad passed away, you came. You didn't ask. Came.
Right, right, yeah, yes,
And
yes. And I'm sorry about that. That's something that just happened in your life recently. So
yeah,
I know what that's like.
yeah, and because and nobody would have understood. Yeah, my house was crazy that day, going in and out and all that. But don't mind this. I don't have a tissue. But
I don't have a tissue for you. I'm a
it's
horrible
okay. It's
host.
okay. I'm a crybaby. You're not meant to have tissues for me. But you did that, and that meant a lot.
Yeah,
You know, I might have played it off like it was nothing,
yeah, yeah.
but I want you to know something.
Thank you, thank you. Now, why don't we just cut and get you like some tissues? How about
Yeah,
that?
we will do that.
Yeah, let's do that for a minute. We'll just keep rolling. That's okay.
Yeah.
Bloopers.
Bluebird.
I like gadgets. I like
And you know how to use them. Which sounds hilarious.
I like to figure it out. Honestly, I don't even like to read instructions.
I hate instructions.
I like to figure things out. And for me, it's like, when somebody, but I want to talk about me, but anyway, for me, it's like we're going off on a whole tantrum. This is going to be like a 2-hour episode because of that, because we tend to go off. We lose focus when we're together. But what was I going to say?
Oof.
Just,
the addies, oddities, and you not wanting to read instructions.
I don't read instructions.
I don't do it
because
either.
I like figuring things out, and it's almost, for me, it's almost like when somebody goes and buys, either does a word puzzle or buys like, I don't know, yeah, some kind of game, and they do it, or get a hobby. Like, for me, it almost becomes like that. Like, I want to buy these electronic things, and I want to read them. I want to put them to test, and I want to see how good they are. I should probably give more reviews than I do. about them.
That's important.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
have TikToks and YouTube channels and things like that, all based on
right,
products and
right,
product reviews.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
You
they
know,
sure do. So let's roll it back. And let's go back and talk a little bit. I want to thank you, for what you said. For me, that day was just I know when even when I'm sick, I suffer from a multitude of conditions, but like you don't sometimes getting so many phone calls that you can't handle becomes so overwhelming when you're already in a situation that's overwhelming to begin with. And so for me, I was just like, I'm gonna swing by. I'm just gonna like do a drive by. I'm gonna do a little stalking, and I'm gonna like if there's too many like cars, maybe that's an indication. It's she got her hands full. But I was like, I was like, I'm in. And I was just like, I walked in and, you were in the back and it was like, it was funny. I walked in and everybody, like, your daughter, Jackie, your husband, Demetrius, they were like pointing, like they knew that I was there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so, endearing to be there for you. It's moments that we don't want to go through.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Mm.
But I knew that you knew what it was like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because of that,
Right. Right. And he's at peace now, finally, we talked about that he came to you to finally so you can help him be at peace, and you
Right.
did that.
Right.
And
I
you
did
did
that.
that. Yeah, you did that. So, it gets a little bit tough for us, right? Who stay behind, but I think they want us to move forward.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He told me right away.
Yeah. I want you to be greater, to do more things,
Yeah.
to be better than what you are already. Not that you're not good, but
No,
to try to be better every year.
He was more than proud. He was more than pleased. He knew that he was leaving me in good hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he talked about all my kids. He talked about my husband. He's like, he's a great guy.
Now, where's your dad from?
Yauco, Puerto Rico. He's from Almácigo Alto.
Right, because your origins come from Puerto Rico
and the Dominican Republic.
So your mother is Dominican.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, born and raised partially.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was born in Santiago.
Little New Yorican here and there. Yeah. You got a little New York. Yeah, I think we all do.
The New Yorican thing going on, but like the way I talk, the way I act, and things like that, that represents the New Yorican part.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like how I cook,
yeah,
I think it gravitates more to the Dominican side because of my mom.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's okay because I got this fusion thing going on.
You sure do. You got this Latin cuisine and you create like life. You bring food to life, and I'm just like so proud of you. I mean, I've said this already, but more so because last year you were featured in a magazine called Edibles in the Lehigh Valley, and just recently, this month, you were featured in Lehigh Valley Live magazine, and it was a very nice spread of you and your story. And even though there are many, many people who have read your story and you have shared it through the magazine, but also through other interviews that you have done, I'm just hopeful that you're going to be able to share that same experience here today with the listeners. I mean, because you have a couple of different stories, right? You have this fusion that you have going of Latin foods, and you created, from scratch this business, and this business has a history, which you're going to share with us and how it came about. But you also have other dreams to pursue. It's like, yes, this is where I'm at now, but there will be a next, and there will be more coming.
And that's the idea. That's the plan. That's what we pray for,
Amen. We have to. Yes.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with dreaming. I dream all the time.
Actually, when you said the magazine, yes. Panchita's Kitchen, I say we because it takes a community. It takes a village also for a business. It can't just be a one-man show. There's no way.
Yeah.
Through the grace of God, I have support from family, from friends, like you, my husband, who has been like my rock in my hard place. He's been pushing. It's like, this is now. Your time is now. What are we waiting for?
Well, I had your husband here a few weeks ago, and he definitely gave you a shout out too. So.
He tells me, he says, "Were your ears ringing?" You know, it's constantly. He's something else.
But you brought up a very good point and a special one that sometimes we like to think that, hey, we did this all by ourselves. And I
Okay.
didn't. I'm a one woman show, but I haven't done all this by myself. As a matter of fact, your husband has been an intricate part of this as well. He's helped me when I don't understand something to troubleshoot it. And so he's being my teacher, when it comes to podcasting. So I'm grateful for that. But sometimes we like to say, hey, I do it all by myself. And it's like, not really.
You do the research,
Yeah.
you do your reading, you do, you got to put the time in, yeah, you're going to need help. But I know you're the kind of person that will try to find a way on your own first.
Yeah.
And we're not all born knowing everything.
Right.
We learn as we go, and this is what you like to do. This is what, your passion is, and that's okay. Passion for me was my food. I thought during COVID that plants were my thing. And don't everybody was doing the plants. Oh my goodness.
Everybody was doing something during
Yeah.
COVID. We were like, was it
Yeah.
going to be workout? Me, it was like workout. And then I got all this equipment. I'm like, then I moved. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this equipment?
Yeah, we even did the whole propagating podcast thing. It was just super fun, super fun. But you know what? All it takes is for one little bug invasion to attack all your plants for you to be like, yuck. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Even though I do love plants and I have nothing against them, I do admire them.
Yeah.
And
they're fun to have around the house.
They're awesome.
Yeah, within limits for me, because for me, it's like my space is small. So
yeah. And for some people, their therapy is plants.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I've seen some beautiful setups.
Oh,
absolutely.
Amazing. But for me, my food is my therapy, So Lehigh Valley Style Magazine and me, I can't say go way back, but the editor-in-chief, Kristen Wagner, very nice person.
Yeah, shout out to Kristen.
Yeah, shout out to Kristen. I had no idea I was emailing the editor-in-chief.
Okay.
Lyle from Jay's Local gave me her contact information along with a few other people. And he says, I think you want to get in touch with her. She's really good at putting out, giving shout outs to the small business, helping local and things like that. You should send her an email. And I did. And I introduced myself. And right away, she put something on in her magazine saying that I was now showcasing my food at Jay's. So that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2022.
Wow. That's cool.
And then we stayed in touch here and there. And one day I went with you actually to this happy hour. Yeah. And I got a chance to meet her personally. And even though it was awkward because we didn't know anybody, we made some valuable friends there.
We sure did. And it was a very, nice, restaurant, that we went to. Yeah, Blue. And it was nice and outdoor and it was packed. I remember. I was a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, but it was nice. I felt
was
weird, but at the same time, I felt good.
Yeah.
Because I was surrounded by like-minded individuals. And that's very important. Yeah. When I was growing up, it was different. It was a different time. Everybody was just trying to survive, make it through another day. Mm-hmm. We still are.
Oh, yes.
But now we have other things. We have other things to be grateful for. We've lived a little longer. We've learned a little bit. We've cried. We've laughed. And it's just time now for us.
And you've taken the next step. You're like, this is what I wanted to do
my entire life,
and
I
it's
had no idea.
Right? And some people wait and wait. Sometimes I've done that, and I'm like, wait, and I'm like, well, wait. What happened to wait? That's 20 years later. I'm still saying wait, and I'm like, that is not a way that I personally want to continue to live my life. Right. Just jump in, get your feet wet. You're gonna make mistakes.
You're going to make some mistakes, and you're also going to see, is this what you really set out to do? Is this going to be your passion? Is this going to be something that you're going to be able to do for the next 20, 15 years? This is something I could do till I retire.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I go to sleep tired, like exhausted, with a smile on my face, knowing that I did what I loved, that I did what I enjoyed.
Because entrepreneurship is exhausting. People have it's a hustle. It's like you're in a bunch of different directions. you
It's
know.
like having deadlines, right? You set yourself out to have certain goals or even necessities in order for you to be able to go through the process of first, what do I do first? You know,
Right, nerve-wracking. Is this, am I taking the right step?
do I have the money, the mind? Like, even do I have the patience or even the time to deal with everything that's involved? Because just because you made the first step doesn't mean that there's not going to be a million steps after that. You're not
Yeah.
going to do the million steps all at once. It's one step at a time. So I did my federal EIN. That was the first thing, you know,
Nice.
and then looking up the names and stuff like that was next, making sure that nobody else had
So,
that name.
so you did a lot of research on your own.
Yeah.
Have other people played an intricate part in helping you
My
with that
husband,
research?
my husband. It was that. And then I talked to other business owners. See, I was the weird person hanging out by the food tents and the food trailers and the food trucks and just looking at their setup, looking at what they were doing. I'd go behind the scenes and they're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yes.
My husband's like, wow. Like,
Describe it. I've seen you in action.
yes, yes. Looking at their setups, looking at how they cook their food and how they, keep it, how the serve safe, temperature control and all of that. So I'm looking at all of that and just asking questions, constantly asking questions.
So learning a
Feeding
little bit
myself.
here and there.
Feeding myself. I would go to outdoor food events. Even after, I still do it now. I support local just as much as they support me. I give them shout outs.
Amen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what you got to do, man. You got to support each other, and no matter who it is.
There's enough to go around for everybody.
Absolutely.
There is.
Absolutely. And we all have like
collaborate.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all I have other good friends that do food businesses and different types of food, even some similar to food, but their dreams are different than my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Their prices are different than my prices. That's okay too. Yeah. They have their followers. I have mine. I might not have a lot of them, but it's okay because the ones I do have mean the world to me.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Some people have like 20,000, 50,000 followers, and that's wonderful too. Maybe one day I'll have that. Maybe I won't, but that's okay because less is more.
It takes time.
Yeah.
It sure does. It takes time. So, that's something that we all just have to be patient with. And, but I think, there's more people open to so I think there's like a group of people that don't follow or anything, don't engage, and they'll do that. And I wish more people would do that because that's the way that businesses can, increase their traffic, and their pages and on their accounts. And I think sometimes people are afraid, oh, they're going to bother me. Well, yes, you may see some other stuff come up, but think about the good that you're doing, So if you can't go out there to that event that you're doing and buy, an empanada, pastelillo, buy some rice and beans, if you can't do that, then support via social media. Just share, exactly. Save, share it with your friends, share it on your feed, subscribe, do all of the above.
Right. And the process has been, I could talk for days about this, but the process has been wonderful. There's been nights that I've been thinking, and I have to stop myself. My husband's like, calm down, you're going to burn yourself out, Don't overschedule yourself. I know you want to make everybody happy, but you can't. Right. You can't. You have to have time for you. So he made me promise that for every 2 to 3 events, take 1 week, one weekend off, because I still have my regular day job. So,
and that's amazing though, because yes, you have to treat yourself kindly, because if you don't, then who's going to run the business? Right?
And no, definitely. It's constant. People don't realize all that is involved, getting all the supplies, getting everything. I don't have a food trailer yet, so it's twice the work for me because I have to haul everything in and haul everything out and make sure everything is clean and storage. It is just amazing, small businesses that don't do food have their own struggles, of course. Right. They're a little different. I have all their struggles, and then on top of that, all the food licenses and the permits, and oh my goodness, where am I going to find the commissary kitchen in the Lehigh Valley?
Which is interesting because you've spoken to me a little bit about that because I'm new to all this, so Sometimes I'm like, "Hey, how come you're not over there?" They're like, "Oh, because that's an extra license."
There you go. There you go. That's an extra
When
license.
if it's not the city, it's a township. When it's
Right.
not the state, it's
Right.
something else.
Right.
And
And it's
yeah,
more than one day,
right.
then it's another
And
thing and
if you're servicing a multitude of cities too, you have to get one in each.
business licenses.
Business licenses, yeah.
Yeah. And it all depends because when it comes to food, it's like Department of Health. Wherever the Department of Health isn't, then the Department of Agriculture kicks in.
Mm.
And if it's just one time event, as long as you have your serve safe, you're good to go and you practice all the policies and things like that. But if it's more than one day, then you'll have to get their license for the year. Everything can add up
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah.
Getting loans, which just seems to be the hardest part, is always money, which was one of the reasons why it took me this long to be able to start the business.
Because you have to have a lot of
You have to have
collateral.
money.
Yeah.
You have to have money or extremely good credit or have a good connection with somebody that's going to give you this line of credit or whatever the case may be. You know, I did some things that maybe the average person wouldn't have done. I didn't have a business vehicle. I needed a business vehicle.
Right.
What did I do? I got a loan out. I was like, I'm going to get a little loan just to cover the business vehicle. I'm still paying on that. But, it's just things. And, first year, 2021 was the year that we got our LLC. That was another thing. I didn't want to pay $500-600 to get an LLC.
Yeah.
I paid the 125 and did it myself because my husband said, you can fill out that paperwork.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
A lot of people are doing that. I mean, I
Yeah.
talk to a lot of people that either have their bread and butter business type like you do, but also have side hustles that could turn into businesses somewhere down the line. And yes, that they're, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a no-brainer.
Right, right. And, everybody knows the grandma, the cousin, the this one that makes food from their house and things like that. But in reality, I didn't want to go that route. There's too many of that. I want to do things legit. I want to be out there. I don't want to have to be worrying, looking over my shoulder all the time. Am I doing things right? Am I going to get in trouble for what I'm doing?
Right.
Oh, you have your LLC?
Right.
That kind of reaction.
Well, I gotta say, Edibles, the magazine, and Lehigh Valley Live would not have featured you.
Right. No, and another
It's
thing,
all about you. You're legit,
right? It was Edible Lehigh Valley. It was Lehigh Valley Style Magazine and
good.
Lehigh Valley News.com, which was the newest one.
Nice.
That featured me and also another person I follow. That's her catering company is called Cooking Mama, Local Cooking Mama, something like that. Which is amazing because we follow each other.
Okay.
We give each other kudos. We don't know each other personally, but
part of the support that you were talking about.
Right. Exactly. She's a lot bigger. She's got this whole thing going on, and everybody knows of her business. She's constantly featured, she's great. It never tasted her food, but I just love her style. You got to give kudos to people. You got to be supporting. Yeah. It's everybody's out there too. And there's enough, like you said, there's enough for everybody.
There's enough. One of the things, and I think, we're going off a little bit off topic because I still want you to talk a little bit about your grandmother and the influence she had on you, but I get a little upset when folks, are ordering like t-shirts, paying $20-25, but you may have a family member or a neighbor that's doing t-shirts that you could support them by buying one or buying two, or if they have deals going on, 2 for 1. I mean, yes, 2 for the for, I don't know, some sort of price, but that, why not support them? Why are you going over there and doing that? That's,
I would rather.
That's, oh my God, that's how that person, you have no idea when those, when people get their orders, right? I get phone calls from you saying, oh my God, I got another order. And it's like, when it's these, orders that are really, that can be challenging, but can be totally new and exhilarating. And I feel like I've seen people do that when I've ordered certain things, and it's like, oh yeah, and you can see you just gave them joy. They just created happiness you know, from the joy that they do of doing things and being able to have, clients, customers, that can support them. So if one thing I say is like, please, yeah, support. Like before you go buy anything, think about anybody in your family who may have a side hustle or who may have an LLC or, you know, gifts. I mean, I've seen there's so many people doing so many things. It's like endless. So that's the one thing I would say, like support people. Like I get it. Like I hear sometimes, well, I know how to cook Spanish. Why would I go over there and pay $15 for that plate? How about for that support? I know we all can, some of us, not all, but can cook, but that's not the point. Sometimes we don't want to cook. That's one thing about that. People who are busy don't want to cook. Sometimes you come home, like there's not enough hours in the day. Other times it's like the weekend and you also don't want to cook and you want to be at an event and you want to have that experience. So I encourage people to do that. I encourage people to step out of their homes and, get involved in the community and support local businesses more.
Absolutely.
Like Panchita's Kitchen.
Like Panchita's Kitchen, yeah. When you were talking about my grandma, my grandma had like 14 children. And I say like because not all of them made it to adulthood.
Yeah.
She gave birth to 14.
Yeah.
They lived in Almasigo Alto, like I told you. They were poor, and she was a very strong, independent Puerto Rican woman. Very strong. To tolerate all them kids and raise them the way she did.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
And then my grandfather, who goes by the name of Demetrio, which is the significance of my, like translated Demetrius, like my husband, and her being Francisca,
right.
Which why I got my name Francis, and I'm nicknaming her Panchita. The whole connection. That's why it's Panchita's Kitchen, is because of her.
Yeah.
Because I admired every story, and every picture, and every sacrifice. And even for the ones that I don't know, I can imagine what her life must have been like. Yeah.
That probably came with every meal that she cooked.
Telling you.
Yeah.
And even though she didn't teach me how to cook, every meal I make is with love and her honor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I did it more for my dad.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about that. But my grandfather, I hear stories. And I need to hear more because I'm so focused on Panchita that I feel bad. I met them both when I was 2 years old. My dad took me to Puerto Rico for a week. And my mother suffered so much, he never took me again as a child because she didn't want to be separated from me. But, I have pictures, with traditional Puerto Rican clothing and the colors and the thing. And I thought that was so cute. But, yeah, she was very, very, very good. Even after her children were all grown, she used to go to people that were better off, like people that had a lot of money. And, she wasn't asking for money. I think there was something written somewhere that she asked for money, but she wasn't asking for money because she had what she needed. She would ask for clothing. She would ask for food. She would ask things for like that for other people that were in need as well, because she understood what it was like. So she would do that. She wouldn't do that for herself. She did it for others. And I thought that was very memorable. My abuela. I heard some stories about my abuelo, though. Him and his making pitorro and getting himself arrested.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know nothing about that. Don't get me arrested.
Needless to say, I don't know. He was good, but he used to get in trouble every once in a while. It was a little man. Right. Little man, wasn't too big.
Now, to the listeners, pitorro is the equivalent of like moonshine in the United States. Yes. It's like basically like, I have no idea what they make it with, but
he was born. Yeah, he was born in the late 1800s.
Stuff you do in the mountains and of the island.
Yeah. So he was born in the late 1800s, something like 1896 or something like that, and lived through the whole prohibition, lived through all those things.
Wow.
Yeah, but people need to do things, especially back then. People still do it now. People still do things to be able to survive, to get by, And, more power to them as long as they're not hurting anybody and they're not doing, illegal,
right. It's like
real illegal activity.
Yes, no, none. We do not promote any of that. So,
none of that. No.
but I like yeah, like we mentioned, like we were discussing before. It's like I know, and I'm sure you do too. I know so many people that got a side hustle. It's like it's because why? Because the cost of living is so high. Everything's going high. Everybody, so they know you get what the 3% increase. The 3% that the people get more or less.
Oh, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, right? Some people's 1%, but then somebody else is raising everything 5%, and so you can't catch up.
I saw this video.
So your rent's going up, food's going up, gasoline's going up. So I'm like, so what happened to the 3%?
I saw this video of a person getting some type of a 3% raise, but then the out-of-pocket cost for her medical insurance was going to be high, and then other things was going to be high. It's like, wait a minute, keep your raise if it's going to bring that, because in reality you're not making anything. In reality, you're going to end up paying more than you're getting.
And this is what I'm talking. We always go off. I was about to go off again. It's the same thing with child daycare. People are like,
"What? You're kidding me? $300?
Why work? Why work? Like, no. Why work? Because it's all going on. It's like most of it is going to daycare.
People don't think about those things.
Yeah,
it's horrible. Who was it that was telling me that they were getting charged like $300 for 2 days a week? I'm like, oh no. So I decided to finally get a job to work from home. I heard so many positive things about my grandma that I decided that's it. That's going to be the name of my business. Everybody names their business, any kind of thing. And I wanted to have meaning behind it.
Right.
There's a meaning. There's, I know she's proud. I did it for my dad because when he knew the name of the business, he was like so excited. Every time something new was happening, I would always call him and tell him, "Can you believe this? Can you believe this?" Mm-hmm. And I would take a picture of a magazine or something, and I would send it to him.
Yeah.
Te vi por ahí,
Yes.
Mira que hiciste esto, vi que hiciste lo otro, like, I saw you do this, I saw you do that, and you were with this one, and you were with that one. I'm so happy, I'm so proud. You know? He would get so excited and see my joy.
Right.
And I think my joy was seeing him happy.
Yeah.
Because he had seen me suffer so much that it was just about time that I had something else to bring to the table finally instead of being the sad sack, Well,
you feel good about yourself to be able to have to create something from start to end, and see it unfold.
Right.
I know that's my kind of personality. Like, I feel like, oh my God, yes, I need to be accomplished. Yes, I accomplished this. I was able to do it, with very little, my accent just came out, very little instructions.
I could bounce around topics and things like that, but that's how it started. That was the reason for the Panchita's Kitchen. Growing up in New York City, being a latchkey kid, like a lot of people could relate to that. Parents working. My mom single. They didn't stay together. My mom and my dad didn't stay together. So mom had to work full time. I had to have a house key. She had a falling out with my babysitter, who was her cousin, and toma la llave.
Yeah, you got to grow up.
You got to grow up.
Some people don't have to go through stuff like that.
Yeah. An 8-year-old walking to school was only 2.5 blocks away,
but still
straight across. But you know what?
My mom used to watch me from the
window.
From the window, because the school was right behind, and it's 2 blocks like that. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. My mom watched me at the window, but it was different. She was already at work by the time it was time for me to go to school. Yeah. So just a rewind. Hearing Radio Wado in the morning, 1280, 1280 a.m. That was her alarm. Hearing that, the smell of coffee, the smell of Bustelo, and she had her routine. She had that structure. She had to have it that way.
Right.
Because that was the only way she was going to be able to raise us,
Oh, yeah. It's like, 1, 2, 3. Hey, here's breakfast. Hey, let me drink my coffee. I'm out the door.
Right. And she knew I was terrible at breakfast, but she always warmed up some milk for me. And she always left me my glass of milk.
Yeah.
This was funny because my youngest loves warm milk.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think even though she didn't experience my childhood, it seems like they were there, At least she was. But anyhow, that's how it started. And me seeing my mom cook, my mom made everything from scratch. We didn't have money to go out to eat all the time. And even if we would have, mom was so picky with her food because, like, people that cook, like, really cook naturally, they don't just go anywhere to eat.
Right. That's true.
They just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you go to McDonald's, you go to Burger King, you go to, your local pizza joint, you know what to expect.
Mhm.
But you can't go everywhere and expect the same thing.
Right.
Many times I've bought things and I just toss them in the garbage. Like, I'm not gonna eat that.
Yeah.
Not
Same.
only do I not like it,
Same.
that's gonna ruin my stomach. Or that's a little sus. I ain't
Yeah.
eating that.
Same. That just happened today.
I ain't. If it's not up to par, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That particular thing I love, but that's me. We had two different experiences with the same kind of food.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right. It happens.
And that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, she told me how to cook. Mom used to make the pastelillo. Mommy calls them pastelito. Because in Santo Domingo, they call it pastelito with a T. And she used to make the masa from scratch. And I remember she only made them like 2 or 3 times a year because of that. I remember helping her. Like, she's rolling, and I'm cutting out.
Yeah, cutting the little, yeah.
And she used to love making the round ones. So she would
Yeah.
have a thing on top and on the bottom. Both of them had the discos, right? One on the bottom. And then we'd fill it in with meat. So then you would have
That's a
twice.
big one then, yeah.
Yeah, but it would be like this.
Ooh, I want to try that.
Delicious. Delicious. And then when the masa
I'm
was
gonna make it.
Yeah, she wouldn't throw anything away. Like, whatever was left of the masa, she would roll it out, fry it quick, and put some sugar on top. I
Right.
think they call them yoniqueque or whatever.
Something like that.
Oh,
Guilty of doing that too.
terrible deliciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deliciousness. So yeah, that was me helping her, learning. My mom made so many different things. And
What are some of the dishes that you make, like in honor of your mom, your grandmother? Like when you do your catering, what are some of the, like, like maybe like the most some of your famous dishes that people continuously order from you?
Well, from my mom used to make a mean pernil. Her pernil was like so good, and it was never over seasoned. You want to make sure that you cook food that you could taste what you're eating, not have it be overpowered by salt or all these other ingredients.
Right.
She was very big on natural things.
And pernil is pork.
Pork shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Pork shoulder.
It's usually like roasted, like
in the oven. Yeah. And
you got to get that skin super crispy, right?
Love me some crispy. Sacude. Love me some crispy skin.
I have to say, oh my God, this is gonna be like horrible. I'm sorry to the listeners. I don't know if it's allergies what I have, but I have to have like a lozenge. And so yes, I will try to do a good job editing, but please be kind.
I hear you.
I don't eat pork from everybody. I don't eat pork a lot either. But when I do eat it, I have to say every time that I've tried your pernil, your pork shoulder, it's been super good. Because well, today was an example. When I say I don't eat dry meat, I don't eat dry meat. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I just some blood. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just smacked. Not really smacked. It was my foot got in the way. I'm sorry. My foot got in the way and I pulled her headsets. And she got a little scared. Oh my goodness. That was funny.
You made me smart.
That was so funny.
Yeah. So there has been things that are unique to my mom, not personally her, but her culture, I make a mean pollo con spaghetti because it's Dominican stuff. We don't do we're gonna put sauce on top of the noodles and you see the noodles all around.
Okay, the ginger just hit me.
Ay. You know, a pollo con spaghetti is like slamming, so I make that. And then I don't take those things to events. Those are catering orders.
Right.
Yeah, no, those are things that it's like, you know, you got to make it simple. When you're out doing um, mobile catering and mobile orders and go to these places and stuff like that, less is more. You don't want to
Right.
complicate yourself. You want to bring things that you know that are going to sell and not too much of it.
Right.
Not at least until I have a trailer. Because when I have a trailer, then it's different because now I have proper refrigeration, proper freezer space.
You just jumped to kind of like towards the end. I was going to say, and next, because we're going to talk about a possibility of the food truck.
Definitely. But before the food truck, more than anything, like I was talking about the chicken with spaghetti and my cooking classes at Northampton, you know, community college, man.
Right.
I started with my carnitas. It was an idea. I used to make these foods. My mom did make carnitas.
I think it's super cool. You know, those classes I've been to them. I think it's super cool, and the fact that everybody can take the meals that they prepared home. I mean, it's like a lot.
They make enough to take for their spouses, for their kids, for the lunch for the next few days. Like, and then I try to make meals that are easy, that are practical, and cost effective.
Yeah.
Like nothing we make is expensive.
Right.
You know, and it's fun. It's fun to make. You can make it with your kids, you know?
Oh, yeah, it was fun. Well, when I went, there were two like BFFs, two best friends.
Yes.
And it was so they worked, you could see that they were best friends because they worked so well together while one was doing something, the other one, and they would interchange and they wouldn't mess up. So I saw that. I saw some people who were like, they were alone and they were like, oh yeah, this is going back to the family, you know, and
right.
There was a young married couple, you know, it was like, you know, it was super fun to watch people do that, but also to see other cultures be interested in your culture, in what you prepare,
right?
You know, to say, I like this and I want to learn how to make it so I can do this at home.
Right. And just the experience is fun. You know, the date nights, the children buying it for their mom for Mother's Day.
Right.
You know, or a gift for Christmas, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Date nights. Let's surprise my wife. Let me surprise my husband.
Yes.
You know, girls' night out.
Girls' night out. Yes.
I did a private party for a group of teachers.
Oh my God.
You know, there's so many
That must have been
ideas.
super cool.
It was super cool. We made a whole bunch of appetizers.
Oh wow.
We made flan. That was something.
You also do some things with the kids.
Oh, I did cooking classes with children this past year, 2023, and that was an experience.
Yeah.
You know, the first one was middle schoolers.
Now they come with their parents, right?
Well, the middle schoolers didn't. Their parents dropped them off.
All right. So they're a little bit older. Yeah.
They're a little bit older. You'd be surprised though, between the middle schoolers and the younger children.
Yeah.
The other class I did with the cookies, those children were younger and they came with their parents.
Yeah.
And that's really nice.
Yeah.
Because then now they have a parent that could help them.
Yeah.
And it makes them feel like they're important.
But for me also,
look what I can do, Mom.
Right.
Look what I can do, Dad.
But also it's an interaction together, an experience together. Even though maybe the child might have done most of the work, but they were there, they were present.
One of them did it with their grandma.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cute.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
Give the mom a break.
Mm-hmm.
Let mom do whatever she has to do. And this is me time between my grandchild and me. I thought that was really cute as well. Right. So, you know, I don't know if I'll be doing it this year because I'm super busy.
Yeah. Yeah, your calendar's getting
there.
And thank goodness. That's just, you know, knock on wood and everything, man. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. And for the first time, I'm gonna be doing a few weddings this year. So that's big.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. One of the weddings are 250 people, which is overwhelming when you think about it. But you know what? You know, you gotta keep moving forward. You know, I've served over 200 people at my events. So why can't I do it?
Right. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it at a wedding?
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, it's a different experience, but also, you know, the fact that, you know, the couple tracked you down, you know, because of the good things that they heard about you, but also because you know how to fix the dishes that
they want at their wedding.
Right. I personalize every catering more,
Yeah.
depending on what the person would like.
Mhm.
Some people have no idea what they want,
Yeah. Right.
And then I give them ideas. Oh, you make that. I didn't see that on the menu. So it's just a matter of calling.
Yeah.
Just call me or email me, and I'll find a way.
Yeah.
And if I can't personally do it, I'll find somebody that can. That's just the way it is.
Right.
Um,
But you also, like, when you can't do it, because this is something you've shared with me, you have friends in the business.
I recommend other people,
right?
Like they've recommended me.
Right.
You see, it's just,
again, support.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Mhm.
It's so important to do that.
Mhm.
And not only does that bring joy to my heart by them helping me, but it also, it's like, wow, this is the kind of friends that we all want
Right.
to have by our side. It's like they don't have to be calling you every moment of the day,
Right.
but they come through.
Exactly.
They come through when you need it.
Right.
When they need it, you're there.
Yes.
Giving them some kind of guidance, a good word,
yes,
positivity. Because listen, it could be my 10th event, it could have been my 100th event. I always have anxiety before I go. I always get nervous that did I forget something? Didn't what if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work?
Yeah, who you're telling? It's like you're about to perform
all the time.
And you're like,
all the time.
Yeah, what
every class. Every class I have, every cooking class.
And then once you're in it, you're like, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The anxiety and everything. It's like
the anticipation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So for the first time, my cooking class is one person shy of being full. Ooh. There's been times where we didn't get more than 1 or 2 people in those cooking classes. Now they're selling out.
Yeah.
And that is like proving to me that it's working. Whatever is going on is working.
Right.
And I try to be the hands-on person. When I depending on what the menu is, I try to make one of the foods first. I try to make like the moro de habichuela or el arroz junto con habichuela, like
the rice and beans.
The rice and beans, mixed. Try to do that first. Yeah. So when the students start coming in, they're like, "Ooh, what is this? I could smell this down the hall."
Yeah. Yeah, you're in progress already, almost done of fixing it so that it just, I was there. I mean, the whole floor of the building gets the aroma.
I bring my fresh made sofrito. I bring my famous cilantro lime sauce with me. I don't have to do all of that, but I do because I want people to see this is a whole, it's like a whole package. Yeah. Regardless of whatever the class says, I'm going to bring my extras.
You're making me hungry. I'm just like saying, where's
the sauce?
Where you at there? Because I need a plate.
Where's the sauce?
I need a plate of carnitas with rice and beans and some sauce.
Right? And that is the most famous class I have, the carnitas class. And I give them the options, carnitas pork or carnitas chicken. And it's not the traditional Mexican style carnitas. It's my style carnitas. Right. Small pieces of either boneless pork or boneless chicken. And it's usually thighs. Cut in small pieces. You've helped me. You know what it's like. Seasoned to perfection, like I say. Yeah. And, and just either you could do it on a flat grill in your backyard. You could do it on a griddle inside your house. You could do it in a wok, saute it. Yeah. And serve that over your rice or whatever you want.
Or they can go and follow you on Facebook.
Yes.
On Instagram, and also see where you're going to be at.
And every month, my husband puts out the calendar. Mm-hmm. And if you can see, most of the events are on weekends because I work during the week. Right. And I try to do those events on weekends. And man.
Usually some of those big events, people know that there's a lot of people working. So I think they have a better crowd on weekends too.
Always. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mm-hmm. Best crowds ever. As long as the weather permits, depending on where the venue is.
Right. So besides cooking classes for adults, cooking classes for kids, you also, go to wineries, right?
Wineries and breweries.
And breweries, yes.
Yes, I am.
In addition to the catering that yes.
And it's crazy, kind of like fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. You talk like you know what you're talking about, and you sell yourself because nobody's going to do it for you.
Right. It's like I said at the beginning, it's like, take the step, just take it. Because you're not going to know, you're not going to get good at something unless you fail, unless you try it and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Let me go read how to do this. Let me talk to somebody who's done it before.
Right. All I did was send the message, and that's all it took.
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking for somebody. Would you be interested? What?
Yeah.
What kind of food do you make? Send your menu. We're going to have you this day. Ever since then, that was Cedar Ridge Vineyards up in Kutztown.
Yeah.
Ever since then.
Yeah. It's beautiful up there too.
Oh, amazing views. Amazing views. You know, springtime, fall, anytime. You don't want to be up in the mountain when it's freezing cold and super windy. Of course, we've all done that. But on a good day, it's fantastic. You got the live music. You got wine or wine slushies that I love. You can have mimosas.
So you're working, but it's really not like working.
No,
you're like
you're getting paid.
Yeah. To do what you love.
Amen.
In the meantime, you're in an environment that's also, feeding you some culture.
And it's
and music, man.
And it's like they say in Spanish, sana.
I feel like music is like medicine. So it's like, yeah.
So I'm listening to the music. I'm having my slushies. I'm making my food or serving my customers. It's dog friendly. It's kid friendly.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome, you know?
So you're doing a lot. You're busy.
I'm busy.
I've seen your schedule. It's hectic. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I want to have that kind of energy when I grow up. No, but seriously, I've seen how hectic you are. So, but I also know that self-care is important to you. How do you balance that? And, like tell the listeners a little bit, especially if there's any entrepreneurs thinking about, well, I can't do that because how am I going to balance my personal life? How am I going to, take care of myself? How am I going to get the pedicure? How am I going to get the manicure, and things of that nature?
Right. In my case, first of all, 5 years ago, I wasn't like I am right now. 5 years ago, I was pain everywhere. I couldn't move as much as I do now. I couldn't stand for long periods of time. I couldn't be on my feet. Couldn't walk that far, and somehow, some way.
Know the feeling. Yeah.
I know you do. Somehow, some way, I tell you what, ever since I've been doing this, I feel more physically active. I feel better than I have ever felt. That hustle.
You have a purpose.
Amen.
And that purpose is food, but it's food made with love.
It's my therapy.
Share.
It's my therapy. So I'm healing myself.
Yeah.
Instead of paying my therapist. And I'm not telling anybody not to pay their therapist. Because
correct. Please.
Right?
Yes.
I already did that.
Right. Everyone has different ways to heal.
Right. It's kind of like my daughter was telling me, I'm paying for a personal trainer. I said, better to pay for your personal trainer now than pay for that physical therapy later.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to pay.
Amen. It's true. Which self-care.
There we go.
Self-care.
Back to the self-care. So part of my self-care is actually Panchitas because it gives me joy.
Right.
And that's important. Mental health is very important. Right. So now physical health, that's another story.
Yeah.
I do feel beat up sometimes.
Well, I think culinary, it's you're on your feet, you're carrying supplies of stuff, it's heavy, and it's there. You're constantly there for like 7 hours or so, so
you gotta take your breaks in between. You gotta think smarter, not harder. In the beginning, you do so much and you worry about being prepared. But in reality, you do what I did. You're over prepared.
Yeah.
I didn't need all that stuff.
Right.
But I didn't want to run into the situation where it's not enough.
Right. Because that would be worse. Like, yes. Yeah. Embarrassing.
Shut me down.
I can't.
Shut me down.
Right. Yeah.
Because I didn't have the proper, paperwork or supplies or anything like that. That never happened. Thank God.
Yeah, no, it's better to have, double check.
There you go.
Double check everything. Yeah.
So,
so besides Panchita's kitchen, cooking, and that means like on weekends you're happy. You have your events Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays.
Right. And
you're doing something you love. But what else do you do?
Okay, my pedicure. I go out and get my pedicures. I'm not one to get my hands done. I don't do my hands, but my feet. Gotta get my feet done. So I'm due. Time to go.
Me too.
Yeah. And my massage, every once in a while, I'll get a massage,
Yeah.
Shout out to Jackie's Hands.
Shout out to Jackie's Hands.
And it's
in
amazing.
Allentown,
In
Pennsylvania.
Allentown, Pennsylvania, yes. And how did I meet her? Just like I just talking to you, I met her through Jay's Local, the people that first gave me my opportunity to be able to prepare my food and have a commissary kitchen.
Right.
I met her there. She came one day looking to eat, and I was there. And she says, "What you got?" I told her a whole bunch of things. I said, "So what do you want?" She goes, "Whatever you want." Surprised me. I'll eat anything.
Yeah.
And I give her food. In love ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she tells me, she says, "You should come to my place. It's right down the block." She goes, "Give me your arm." That was it. I was sold. I was sold.
But that's awesome though, because that's something I truly do enjoy as well, the networking. Just meeting new people and knowing that they also are doing good things, greater things in the community. And sometimes that's how you meet people where you can collaborate, or like talking about Jackie's Hands, like for example, she buys your food and you go and get massages,
and I support local like she does.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. And you never know, you might meet friends along the way.
Do you still have
friendships?
Do you still have date nights?
Oh yeah.
Like how do you get the mix of the family in there? You have kids?
Well, my kids are all grown up.
But they visit.
I have my younger son, who's my stepson. He's 17. But you know how teenagers are. He's still in his room, playing his video games, doing his schoolwork, talking to his friends, doing his thing.
Right. Yeah.
But my daughter peeks in every once in a while. My Jackie just tiptoed out of the house one day and said, "Oh, I'm living with my boyfriend." I'm like, "Oh my God, Jackie." But I got my grandkids. See, my kids are spread around. My oldest daughter lives in Illinois.
Okay.
With my 2 grandchildren, which is hard for me.
Yeah. That's far.
My son moved about 2 years ago to Florida. That's hard for me. But I could deal with him because, see, he stayed here till he was almost 30.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
And he was present. I saw him.
Yeah. So the move was
positive, and it was time.
Yeah.
It was time for him.
Yeah.
And I really don't miss him as much as I thought I would, because we talk. He comes and visits like 3-4 times a year.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. So hopefully it'll stay that way. Maybe I won't be saying it the way I'm saying it now, right? Maybe my thoughts won't change. But yeah, there's always something going on. But talk about empty nest syndrome.
Yeah.
My business came smack dab right as my kids were all leaving. So the timing couldn't have been better.
Timing has,
so important.
You and I have talked. I mean, we're Christians, and I know I've gone through some journeys and have to learn some things. And one of the things that truly is like, things will happen at the time that He says it's the right time.
Exactly.
And that's when, like for you, that was that time.
It was my time.
Yeah.
And my husband telling me, "I went to this event and I saw this person with all these sternos and these tins and serving their food, and their setup was so simple. We could do that. You could do that." Because I'm thinking grandiose. Because when
the unknown, you're like, oh, yes. Plus, yeah.
But here's another thing. I'm representing Panchita's Kitchen. I want to have a level.
Right.
Yeah, I could be like Joe Schmo from down the block. And good for them, if that's the way they want to run their business.
Right.
I didn't want to be another chinchorro, like we say.
Right.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I could just be, for that, I could be cooking out of my kitchen and just selling people at my front door,
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
Right.
I want Panchita's Kitchen to be different. I want to be set apart.
Yeah.
Just like us Christians, we're set apart.
Right.
Just want to be set apart.
Mm.
And through the grace of God, it's been working that way.
Yeah.
It's been working. It's like, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to build a network. What am I trying to do? Help other small businesses and help myself along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Support Latinos, support women, support minorities, support everybody. This is about everybody. It's not just about me.
Right.
You know? I used to do a lot of volunteer work, and you know, I'd run into people that I remember from the shelter. And I tell them, it's like, I'm gonna be at the farmers market on Saturday. If you're there, just come by, I'll give you food.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
They came by and I came over.
Yeah. Right.
Does it hurt?
Yeah. We have to do,
It's God's love.
We have to be kind.
We have to be kind.
And sometimes being kind is being able to give somebody a meal.
Little things like that.
Not necessarily, you don't need to have a conversation with anybody, it's just a meal,
Like I told you, that I experienced yesterday. I went to a fast food place. I'm not gonna say the name. And the person didn't pay for these drinks. And they went to the fountain. And you know how cheap fountain sodas are. Like, they make bank with those fountain sodas.
Right.
Because there's no way.
Right.
That fountain soda is gonna be $1.49. That's like maybe 10 cents.
Especially depending on how they calibrate it.
Right. And then the quantities of the cups, and you know how everything is.
Right.
Like, the more you buy, the cheaper it gets, right? So this woman screaming at the person, you didn't pay for that. You didn't pay for that. My heart sank. I said, not only did that person not do that on purpose, but to be embarrassed that way.
In front of everyone. In a
$1.49?
public place. Yeah.
For $1.49.
Yeah.
I was about to get up and pay for his food. I was about to get up and pay for his meal because that, to me, like, hurt my heart.
Yeah. Rather than screaming, maybe like walking up to the table, because he went back to the table, right? So,
while he's at the machine,
yeah,
barking. Like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
There's right and wrong. Can you be lenient? I'm sure you can be lenient. But you could also say, you didn't pay for that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to let it go this time. But you didn't pay for that. Whatever.
It's hard, it's so hard because also you don't know what that person was going through that day too. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could be one of those days that something's crumbling, like her life may be crumbling. And, it's just like, there's so much of the unknown, not saying that there are people who are not proper, and who kind of, try to take you down in ways that should not be.
Yeah. Like my husband tells me, be careful where you go. That Panchita shirt. I want to put a logo on the back of my vehicle. Careful how you drive with that Panchita's logo. You're representing.
Yes.
Everywhere you go,
Absolutely.
You're representing your brand.
You're in the public. Now you're in the public. People know you. Absolutely. Yes.
You never know.
Right.
Who you're going to run into.
Right. Yes.
So it's not, you don't want it to just go down just as quick as it came up,
right.
And by no means am I where I need to be as a business yet. But yeah, the food trailer.
Let's talk about that, man. You're like in my head. I'm in your head. I'm telling you, I know you like spoke before I did. I was like, all right, let's go, sister. Trailer. Like I know you and I have spoken about food trucks, and I love food trucks, man. Yeah, so maybe I do love the food trucks, but I equally love the food in the food trucks. I'm like a kid. I'm like, can I have a food truck?
And it's crazy because it's like some places they were so big, like other places like Florida and California and
food trucks.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Chacho.
Yeah, in Puerto Rico. It was like last time I went, it was 2 years ago. And there's even like streets that it's like, there's parks that you go and then you park and then they have already like the platform, a step form. And then I'm like set. So creative. I mean, that's how popular they are. That's how popular they are.
And it's incredible, but it can also be costly. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone in that route yet. But
there's a whole different set also of rules. Guidelines, rules that you have to. Yeah, that like takes it to a different level.
You got to be careful too, because if you are willing to get into that kind of debt, some food trailers and food trucks cost over $100,000.
Yeah.
Some of them, not so much.
Right.
But you got to buy what's good for you, for your business, for what you're cooking.
Right.
because like I have to have a fire suppression system. I have to have a hood. I have to have a deep fryer, whether it's tabletop or whatever. I have to have a grill, counter space, refrigeration space, all of that. And it can't be too big because the vehicle that I use to tow it can't tow that much. All these things that you learn. Had I had the money, I might have just went all out and said, boom, let me buy this.
Right.
Without even knowing, wait a minute.
Right.
My vehicle can't pull that. Now I got to go get another vehicle that's going to pull that or rent a U-Haul.
Right. And also some of the equipment inside. You buy one that's already fitted with equipment. Some of it may not be the equipment that you need to use. So that's going to come out, and then now you have to. That's in another expense,
right? And then what's nice about some places is you'll get it custom made the way you want, and that's true. You get what you pay for. Hopefully, you got to be careful. There's a lot of scammers out there,
right?
Like with anything, some places have a bad reputation for making bad quality trailers and selling it at top dollar. So you got to be careful with that too,
right?
So I've taken you with me to see a few.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes it's real nice, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
And it's really smart to have a guy. And I have a guy.
Right. Yeah, that's
give me his honest opinion.
Yes.
And man, it's like it saves you. It saves you because it's like, wait a minute, now I almost threw $15,000 down the drain.
Right.
Because I would have had to pay another $15,000 to $18,000 to get that trailer up and running.
Because it kind of looked like, hey, this might work. It needs a little, what do they say? Elbow and grease. You need just a little clean it. Right.
Now, little did you know there was underlying issues. Yeah. Kind of like when you're buying a car, or, lemon law.
Right.
You could be buying somebody else's problem.
Right. The floor could be falling apart. And then what happens? And then
now you got to reconstruct that. What if it doesn't pass inspection? It's got to pass the fire inspection and the health.
Right.
So it's important.
Yeah.
It's very important. Yeah, I'm ahead of the game with some things.
But if you were gonna tell people, some steps to take is do your research.
Right? Do your research first.
Do your research. Talk to other people that have businesses. See, you'll be surprised, right? How many people are willing to share their story.
Right. Right. And I'm more than willing. Like I've talked to people, explained to them what they should do. When I did my LLC, I didn't know what I was filling out. I don't know if you had throwing things.
Yeah.
And I filled out another part that I shouldn't have filled out. And they sent it back.
Okay.
And then I'm reading it. And then I'm reading it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I just have to erase this. And I sent it back. Boom, got it right.
Nice.
That's all it took.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to do those things, to learn, to get as much information as you need to from wherever it is.
Right.
Don't be scared to walk up to people and be that creep.
Right.
How'd you do this? Can I see the inside of your trailer?
Sure. Yeah.
Can I see how you make certain foods? Can I see your setup? Look at those tents. I got a tent. Don't do a tent on your own. If you're going to do food, don't do all of that equipment on your own. You have to have help. You got to have the muscles, because my husband's the muscles of that. Yeah. If you have electrical equipment, get those generators. Make sure they're quiet.
Right, you're at an event. You don't want to disturb already whatever may be going on. Yeah.
Noise. Right. There's noise, and you have to have them at a certain distance from everything. It's just very important. Some places can't have open flames, so you have to be careful what equipment you use. Because I use flat tops and grills, but I also have my propane run burners that I make my pastelillos outside.
Right.
Some people don't want that open flame business.
Right.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
But other than that.
Yeah, just do your research and then, good luck to everybody. Take that step that you need to,
And in mine, it was a matter of, have the coolers. Fill them with ice. Make sure that everything that needs to be cold stays cold.
Right. Have a checklist.
Right. Checklist. My husband and his list.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm a checklist person.
Yeah. So. Check. You got that check, And there's situations where, it happened to me one time. I was going to my first big event and I had a catering order that same day. And I just didn't have enough time to make as much rice. And rice is one of my number one sellers.
Yeah, you keep talking about rice, and I'm just hungry. Like hungry. I want some food.
So didn't I go to one of my favorite restaurants and buy a tray of rice? I said, that's it. Why? Because I wasn't going to say, no more rice, no more rice, no more rice. Yeah. It's okay. I mixed it with mine. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Right.
Not that I want to do that all the time, because of course it's not something that I do. But hey, you got to improvise sometimes. Not everything has to be made from scratch.
Right.
Yeah, my sauces. My green sauce, my mysterious green sauce that I won't give nobody the recipe to. I think it's love that makes it taste better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can follow that recipe to the T. And
well, when are you cooking next? Because I just I need a plate of food.
I'm always cooking. I have a cooking class this Friday.
Nice.
The pork ribs with eggplant. The stewed pork ribs with eggplant and la costilla de cerdo con berenjena.
Oh, wow.
Y arroz blanco. Delicious. That's a delicious.
Wait, when is this?
Friday.
Do I have anything on Friday? Can I stop by? Can I swing
That'll
by?
be the last cooking class of the season. And then I'll go again in fall. Because I'm booked to capacity. I'm booked every weekend, with the exception of my me time weekend.
Right.
Yeah. I have 4 weeks from the end of July to the beginning of August off. But since my anniversary is around that time and my mother's birthday is around that time and all that, I figured, it's okay. You never know. Maybe my grandkids might pop in.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be time for me to go visit somebody.
Nice.
Yeah. I try to do that. It's take my car and go on rides through the country.
Yeah.
That's my therapy.
Yeah.
Going back to the therapy.
Right. Part of self-care as well. Right. I like this. I like doing this. It makes me feel good. So, I'm going to do it. I'm in my element.
Catering for Center Ridge on their trivia nights.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I do the first and last trivia night.
Because I
love trivia.
Yeah.
So what do? I make them all this food, and then I stay and I have wine, and I enjoy the trivia, and everybody enjoys my food, and I love it when it sells out.
Yeah.
And then they're giving me props because I stay in the crowd and I have fun. So those are those things that make me happy. I incorporate Panchitas in my therapy, in my happy place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm always doing, like I'm always working.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's okay. Every time I see you, for the most part, you're happy, and I truly appreciate that, because you kind of you're your own cheerleader. So I see that, you're just pushing yourself over and over again. And I'm just glad that you were able to take some time out to, chat with me. And
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I know, so many things are going to happen for you in 2024. I feel like 2024 is my year, and it's the year for my friends and family.
Amen.
So, yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.